to come to an agreement also about a status for these Serbian municipality associations.
But this one was rejected by Kosovo government because it seems to be quite old and it seems to be kind of the original that was agreed in 2013, which gives executive competences to the Serbian municipality, which Kosovo government says is a no-go.
Yeah, no, and I understand that, and to me it also seems seems a bit problematic to give full executive competences here. Nevertheless, I think it's important to engage with these municipalities and to find some way how they can organize and express their points of views in a way that is also being heard.
But then there's a Franco-German big proposal that was also talked much about the last weeks. It has elements of the final agreement which are talked with both countries about Kosovo joining UN without Serbia recognizing it. Is it a plan of German government together with French presidency?
Well, there has been a very high-level visit of the German foreign policy advisor to the Chancellor and his French counterpart, and I think it's very good that we work together also with the French government on this issue. We have been doing that quite a lot. Also, I can tell you that I work very much with my French counterpart, so the Minister for Europe there, also on the issue of Western Balkans, and I raise the issue also of visa liberalization, for example, many times with our French friends. So I think it's good that both of them engage, and that's hopefully a process that can also bring us forward.
But is this the idea of Kosovo joining UN and having the recognition of 5 non-recognizers from EU without the recognition of Serbia?
Well, I think it's not the right time to discuss any specific ideas here. They have engaged, they came, and I think that's the important sign that also Kosovo and the whole Western Balkan region is very high on the priority list for Germany and for France as well.
Do you have any? I guess you don't want to talk about elements, even though the American envoy actually recognize that there is such a plan from Germany and France, that you are the leaders of that plan. But is there any time frame, Ms. Luhrman, of how long will you wait for Kosovo and Serbia to have this agreement? Are you pushing for? There was a mention of a deadline of 24th of February next year, when it's the first anniversary of the Ukraine war.
Well, we're currently focusing a lot on preparing for the Berlin Process Summit on 3rd November, and that is really important that we achieve important agreements here. We also need to make sure that by this deadline, 31st December, the tensions don't escalate here. So I think that's the more immediate issue, and we're working very hard in Brussels to get the issue of Kosovo visa liberalization through the respective council working group.
I'm absolutely going to ask you about the visa liberalization, because they are so important for every citizen here in Kosovo. But just a time frame of the final agreement, is it going to happen next year? The final agreement between Kosovo and Serbia?
Well, also within the normalization dialogue that is run by Mr. Lajčák, there are several steps that need to be done, and I always think that progress here is long overdue.
Okay, what about the Kosovo-Serbia approach to the war in Ukraine? As you know, Kosovo has aligned fully with the EU, has sanctions against Russia, but Serbia doesn't.
Yeah, it's indeed problematic that Serbia moves away from the European Union's foreign policy. Its alignment with EU foreign policy has dropped down to, I believe it was mentioned as 4% in the recent assessment by the European Commission, and it's very important that countries that wish to join the European Union are also aligned with our foreign policy goals.
And Kosovo has been very supportive. Is it something that tells you? Is it something you welcome about Kosovo fully aligning with the EU about Ukraine, even though Ukraine doesn't recognize Kosovo?
Yeah, indeed, we recognize this very constructive position of the government of Kosovo that is in line with the EU goals and also in line with what every government in the world, I think, should be doing to condemn this Russian war of aggression and really stand with Ukraine.
Now, the visa liberalization, there was much hope last, this month actually, about the meeting. It was the first time it was brought to the European Council. There's a new meeting in November. What can you tell to Kosovo citizens that have been waiting for more than 10 years for the liberalization?
Well, first of all, that I really understand your impatience and also your frustration. This is long overdue. The technical requirements have been fulfilled, and I can tell you that we're on your side here and are really trying to move this issue forward as fast as we can.
Is there any chance of some good news this year?
Well, I'm always optimistic, and I really hope that it will be possible, but I'm not a type of politician that wants to make promises that I can't keep, because this depends on the position of other governments. So we're working very hard on it.
And you said you're working with France as well, because it seems like France is the last country to kind of have more requests about Kosovo joining.
Well, I think there are also 2 or 3 others, but it's really the discussions revolve now about sort of a technical system for sort of how visas are administered, and it's very clear that once the system is in place, which is planned for at some point next year, it might also be delayed again, that of course once it's in place, everyone needs to adapt to it.
Other countries as well who have now the visa-free regime, right?
Yes, but I think this is not something that should be connected to this process of visa liberalization for Kosovo in any way.
So there should be no new conditions, let's say, for Kosovo. It's just a matter of political will?
That's our position, definitely, yeah.
And Germany is having a leading role in this?
Yes.
As I think you are in helping Kosovo get Council of Europe membership.
Indeed.
What are the chances of Kosovo getting there?
Well, there are discussions in several. The Council of Europe has a parliamentary assembly as well. It has institutions where the governments are, and I know that also in the parliamentary assembly there are many members of parliament that are really supportive of this matter. And so I think there are chances. There are, of course, also there is some hesitation, particularly from non-recognizers. But I'm quite optimistic that this can happen.
Okay, I want to ask you about Bosnia in the end, because I know you've been engaged with Bosnia as well, and there's been quite a lot of talk about the